Welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy Podcast. This is our sales sizzling summer series. Say that 3 times fast. Keeping sales going during the summer and always, but we're focusing on summer sizzler. Some ideas, reinforcements, or I should say, reminders on keeping sales going. The first is always focus on process. Okay, what you're doing, how well you're doing it, of course, that's all part of the process. Process is not robotic. Process doesn't mean it's linear and it must go this way. A process or an SOP, standard operating procedure, is linear or boom, 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 but human behavior is not. If you don't have a solid foundation, solid systems and processes that are followed routinely and regularly, you're not able to react. You're living in a state of reaction, putting out fires, whoa, living in the whirlwind, living in the tornado. You want to be solid so that you can react, so you can help those who need your help. Process. If you have not watched our podcast featuring Cole Boyson, processes, I highly, highly recommend Cole Boyson, Senior Services of America. If you weren't able to catch him on our webinar, Q2, I had him back on a podcast because what he says, it makes a whole lot of sense, but it makes difference, and it's making massive impact in his company and how he leads his sales teams. So focus on your process. When you're getting discouraged or no one's answering the phone or I'm not getting the outcomes I want, don't panic. Keep focused, process, discipline, consistency, long game. Make adjustments where needed, but activity and skill leads to outcomes. All right, second, do a home or start a home visit campaign. This is a great time for home visits. Older adults, it may get very, very hot where you are. Maybe not a great time for older adults to be out too much, dehydration, sun exposure, etc. Ramp up the home visits. Set a goal, not just set a goal, but a plan of action. If you want to do a campaign around it being summer, it's cool to live at our community, and maybe do something around that, around hydration, around staying cool, staying safe, being around others, during the dog days, the sizzling hot summer. I love a hot summer, but too hot, too sunny, too much exposure is can be dangerous, especially for our older adults. Home visits proven to increase conversions when done regularly and purposely, not just dropping off flyers. Planned home visits. They can be short and purposeful. We're here to support you. We see the impact every single day as short-term, interim, remote sales specialists. They like Grow Your Occupancy. We work right? We're working in collaboration with your team. It allows, it's a gift. It's a gift you give your teams. It's a gift you give yourself. 2 to 4 hours a day of sales power. What could you do? What outcomes? And if you are curious about the outcomes, we post case studies regularly on our website. If you're curious to learn more, certainly reach out at any time. But people go on breaks, people go on summer vacations. There can be transitions, PTO, etc. It's a great time to look at adding sales power or filling, have sales power. We're trained, ready to go on day one. We're strategists. These are proven sales, senior living sales directors, regionals are here to support you. I cannot stress the massive impact this makes. Along those same lines, great time to clean up the database. What does that mean? No prospects without a next activity. Past due tasks, 0 or near 0. Your database, a more even distribution. It's always going to be, heavier in the cools, or for those of you that use future, but needs to be more balanced. So often we see, just a few hots, a smattering of warms, and the rest cold. It's not a fun database to work because, oh, it's cold, they're not ready right now. And psychologically, this is putting a prospect as cold reinforces maybe our self-limiting belief that we can help, we can make impact by engaging because they're not ready right now. So I don't know what to say. Well, it's good they're not ready right now. Okay, maybe. Or you can't force them to be ready right now. Do they have to be ready right now for you to make that phone call? So what what you can do to say, well, will this make impact? Or my suggestion is track or set a goal to warm up, if you will, a number of cold leads. Now, we just finished a project. It's just 1 month, the first month of a project, supporting a community 2 hours a day. And Jennifer has warmed up, excuse me, it's been 60 days. She's warmed up 54 cold leads. And by warmed up, definition is a connection. We've learned more. There's been a greater connection. So there's either tour scheduled or retour, an interest, an RSVP to an event, an agreement that there can be further engagement or confirmation or still a consideration. Doesn't mean hot, ready to move now. It means warmed up, and track your impact on dedicated time into the cools. And if you don't or can't do that, hire a remote sales specialist. Storytelling. Commit to or decide to commit to storytelling in your marketing, in your messaging. Ties into my last, for today anyway, way to keep sales sizzling during the summer is outreach, external business development, outreach. For those of you who don't like to do outreach, don't have time for outreach, feel guilty for getting out, another reason to have a remote sales specialist to keep sales moving forward, keep the calls moving forward, keep the database tended to. Well, you and or one of your team members does outreach. Come up with, you've got to know what your message is. Also, of course, really more importantly, what you want to learn. If you plan, you're going to be more confident. You have reasons to engage. What would you like them to know? What is your message? Tell a story. So again, if it's cool to live at our community. What about some statistics? What about some information? What about ways that your community and your community team help your residents stay healthy and safe during hot months? During the sun is blazing. What do you do to help them stay hydrated? What foods are good to eat? What about exercise or moving during these hot days? What about sun exposure? What is in what way can you tell a story? Tell the story, what you're doing. What are your residents doing this summer? What about the importance of, social engagement for those of you an active adult, real independent living? What's there to do during the summer? What are ways to stay cool, right, at your community during the summer? you come up with a campaign, and some messaging and storytelling, you're making outreach fun, purposeful, meaningful, and likely like a higher chance of kind of making everything stick. What do you want people to remember after you leave? What do you want people to remember after you leave for outreach? Just recorded an outreach podcast focusing on outreach with Tiffany Cooey from QSLM. Check that out too. A ton of information about how her leading her sales team to elevate and outreach for purposeful reasons and measurable outcomes and the impact it's having on business. If you're not bought in the importance of outreach, now listen to that. And there's several podcasts in our library about outreach and the importance of, again, it's a long game. You can't do one and done. It's a long game. It's going out and getting referrals, really doing those sales, because outreach is sales, building relationships, learning, building trust and connection. Why should they give you a referral? What's in it for them? What's in it for the potential resident? What's in for their customer? What do they know? What do they need to know? So can do an outreach campaign. Make it fun. Keeping sales sizzling during the summer. All right, going to do your outreach. Going to focus on process, a home visit campaign, clean up the database, set a goal to warm, cooler, cold leads. How many or what percentage of the colds? And lastly, and so importantly, engage a highly skilled, personable, very kind, and nice kind as someone who understands they understand both. We understand the requirement of action and skill and a high level of empathy to help others feel seen and heard during summer and every month. Thanks for joining this episode of the Grow Your Occupancy Podcast for our Sales Sizzling Summer Series. Wow, tongue twisters. We got our Q3 webinar coming up in September. So if you haven't registered for that, please do so. You can jump on our website. You'll receive a recording if you can't come on live. So please register. Also, thank you for listening, sharing, liking, subscribing, so others can learn and share and contribute to this magnificent business that is serving senior living and serving older adults in any and every capacity. See you next time.